Alright, let's dive into something that's been making waves in Portland lately, and trust me, it's a doozy. So, here's the deal. There was this ballot initiative that wanted to take a chunk of Portland's climate funds and redirect it to beef up police staffing. Sounds straightforward, right? But here's the kicker. It didn't even make it to the November ballot. And the reason? They fell short on signatures. Like, way short. We're talking over 6,000 signatures short. Personally, I think this is where things get really interesting. Because it's not just about the numbers. It's about what this says about the city's priorities, the tensions between different groups, and the broader debate over how we fund public safety versus environmental initiatives. Let's break it down. The initiative, backed by the Portland Police Association and a group called Safer Portland, wanted to take 25% of the Portland Clean Energy Fund, a fund that's supposed to tackle climate change, and use it for law enforcement. Now, on the surface, it's a classic clash of priorities. But what many people don't realize is that this fund was created in 2018 with overwhelming voter support. It's been used for things like renewable energy projects, community resilience programs, and helping low-income neighborhoods prepare for climate impacts. So, when you take a step back and think about it, this initiative wasn't just about public safety, it was about redefining what Portland's values are. And that's a much bigger conversation. Here's where it gets messy. The campaign behind the initiative submitted over 63,000 signatures, but only about 34,000 were deemed valid. Why? Well, a lot of them were from people who weren't registered to vote in Portland, or they were duplicates. Now, the campaign is crying foul, saying the city botched the verification process. They're even threatening legal action. But here's the thing. The city's elections division has been pretty transparent about how they verified the signatures. The Oregon Secretary of State even stepped in to call for clarity, and it seems like they're satisfied with how things were handled. So, while the campaign might feel like they got a raw deal, it's hard to ignore the fact that they just didn't do their homework on the signatures. What makes this really interesting is the reaction from both sides. The police union is arguing that this initiative was about keeping the community safe, and they're frustrated that voters won't get a say. I get it. Public safety is a huge concern, especially in a city that's been grappling with rising crime rates. But on the flip side, you've got groups like Off PCEF celebrating the initiative's failure. They're saying, hey, this fund was meant for climate action, and redirecting it would have undermined years of progress. And honestly, they've got a point. Climate change isn't going anywhere, and neither are its impacts on vulnerable communities. In my opinion, this whole situation raises a deeper question. Can we afford to pit public safety against environmental initiatives? Or is there a way to address both without sacrificing one for the other? Personally, I think the answer lies in how we allocate resources more broadly. Maybe it's about finding new funding streams for public safety instead of dipping into existing ones. Or maybe it's about rethinking how we approach community safety altogether, like investing in social programs that address the root causes of crime. What this really suggests is that we need a more nuanced conversation, one that doesn't force us to choose between two critical issues. One thing that immediately stands out is how divisive this whole thing has become. You've got the police union and their supporters on one side, and climate advocates on the other. But if you take a step back, it's clear that both sides are fighting for what they believe will make Portland a better place. The challenge is finding common ground. And that's where I think the real work needs to happen. Instead of battling over limited funds, why not collaborate on solutions that address both public safety and climate resilience? It's not going to be easy, but it's the kind of thinking we need if we're going to tackle these complex issues. So where does this leave us? Well, for now, the initiative is dead in the water. But the debate it sparked is far from over. Personally, I'm curious to see how this plays out in the long run. Will Portland find a way to balance its priorities, or will we keep seeing these kinds of battles? And what does this mean for other cities facing similar dilemmas? It's a lot to think about, but one thing's for sure, this isn't just a Portland story, it's a reflection of the bigger challenges we're all facing. So what do you think? Is it possible to fund both public safety and climate action without compromising one for the other? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take.